Over the past 5 years working with dozens if not hundreds of foreign property buyers in Spain, we have realized that surprisingly enough, the main problem that our clients face is not the price, not the negotiation process, but rather finding the perfect property. As a real estate consultant in Spain, I can tell you that the biggest problem in the Spanish real estate market is the lack of supply in key areas. As there is not much supply available in the market, the only solution for many of our clients is to design and build their own property in Spain, which is something very complex but fulfilling at the same time. Financially speaking, this is a very good move, but you will have to be very patient because bureaucracy is very intense and you will need to have your own team to support you along the whole process. Now in this video we will briefly review all the different steps that any person regardless of citizenship must follow to build their own property in Spain. Please note that this is a very complex process for which you will need professional help. However, your obligation is to understand how the overall process looks like, and that's what we will see in this video. Building a house in Spain, as in any other country in the world, goes far beyond the construction itself. Building a house is a project composed of different phases. The construction phase is just one of them, but we can divide the whole project into 5 different phases. The first one is the land research, legal due diligence, and acquisition. You cannot imagine how many consultations we get from investors who come to us to finalize the property deed of a plot of land they found online without carrying out a proper due diligence on the land. The seller's agent will tell you that you can build in there, but he could perfectly be lying or hiding information to you, as his goal is to close the transaction, not to make it more difficult. So generally speaking, in Spain there are 3 types of land, each with its own set of rules and regulations. We have rural land, building land, and urban land. Now, in addition to the conditions of each type of land, which we cannot cover in this video, in this first phase, your architect must also review the municipal urban plan. In Spain, most land regulations are delegated to local administration, so it is essential that you get to know the urban planning information directly from them, as it is not information that you will easily find on the internet. You will need to go to the town hall and request a meeting with the municipal architect. So before signing any single contract, you have to study all the regulations that affect the plot of land to be sure that you can build on it. And not only will the local regulation dictate whether you can build or not, but they will also influence the buildability of the property, its alignment, distribution, shape, height, usable surface, a lot of different aspects. For instance, there are many municipal urban plans in Spain that prohibit you from building more than 300 square meters of housing, or even some of them prevent you from building more than 2 stories tall. Again, each municipality chooses its own regulation, so you must know all the conditions before acquiring the plot of land. This first phase usually takes between 1 to 3 months, mainly depending on how long it takes you to find the perfect plot of land, the conditions you agree upon with the seller in the deposit contract, and how long it takes the land registry office to register the new title deed. The second phase is about presenting the project design to the town hall and carrying out all the bureaucracy involved. Once we have the land in our possession, we can start with the next phase, which is preparing the project design, which here in Spain is known as Proyecto Básico. In this first plan, your architect will follow your instructions and create a basic design of your project. Later on, your architect will have to present a more advanced project plan called Proyecto Ejecutivo, which will provide graphic and detailed documentation and even a budget that defines the property in detail, covering all the technical and administrative aspects necessary for the construction phase. These 2 projects, the Proyecto Básico and Proyecto Ejecutivo, must be very well done. They must include a quality report, a topographical and geotechnical report, examining the land's composition, resistance, water presence, and so forth. Now, the third phase will not be to start with the construction, but actually will be to obtain the building license. Those 2 architects' plans that I've just mentioned will be reviewed by a local administration. And once the project is validated, they will grant you the building license, obviously paying the corresponding fee. Now, once this license is obtained, we can then hire a construction company to carry out all the preliminary tasks and procedures before starting the construction, such as preparing the safety plan, a waste management plan, and many other certificates. And once all this bureaucratic work is finished, we can finally start building. Note here that obtaining the building license, depending on the town hall, can take between 4 to 12 months. The fourth and most important phase is the construction phase. Now we can finally start building the house. Here I will not get very deep into the different sub-phases of the construction, as I don't want to get very technical in this video, but obviously the construction company that you choose has to follow a process that begins with installing the fencing that delimits the area of construction, cleaning, excavating the land, laying the foundation, building the structure, and so forth. It is really in the final months of the construction where all the interior finishes are done, so do not despair if time passes by and you don't see a significant change in the construction. If you have previous experience building a house in your country, you know what I mean. Later in this video, we'll give you a brief summary of all the costs and time invested in building a single family home here in Spain. But in terms of timing, only the construction phase of a single family home can take between 10 and 18 months, depending on the location, size, and complexity of the project. Now let me give you some great advice based on our experience, which is basically the importance of hiring an independent architect who protects your interests only. I would not recommend you to hire a construction company directly or an architect who only works with a few construction companies. If you hire an independent architect, he will look for the best construction companies depending on the location of the land and the type of property you want to build. Not all construction companies can do all types of real estate constructions. Moreover, based on what I've seen with my own eyes, if the architect negotiates with the construction companies on your behalf, you will get way better quotations. Then the fifth and last phase will be the completion of construction and final procedures. Once the construction is finished, your architect will need to get the final certificate of completion, which has to be approved by the National Architects Association. And with this certificate, you can apply for what we call first occupancy license, which will be needed to activate the water, electricity, and gas supplies. Other tasks that your architect will have to carry out include the energy certificate, the building license, the declaration of new construction completion, and the deed of completion signed by a Spanish notary. As you can see, the biggest obstacle in Spain is bureaucracy, as for one permit you need another permit, and so on with dozens of permits and licenses. At Emergent Investors Spain, we collaborate with many different independent architects and construction companies, and we offer a comprehensive service designed for non-resident foreigners who want to build their own property in Spain. We basically take care of absolutely everything so that you don't have to worry about it. From the land research, contracts management and due diligence, to all the bureaucracy management, project design, construction, and project supervision. Our entire team is made up of local experts fluent in English, so communication will not be a problem. However, if you are in a low budget and you feel capable of doing all of this by yourself, let me recommend you again to hire at least an independent architect who can help you along the entire process. He will help you to study the potential of the plot of land you want to buy, as well as communicating with the technical architects of the local town hall. Ideally, the architect has to be independent, meaning that he's willing to work with different construction companies based on your location and property requirements. So for instance, if you have bought a plot of land with a steep slope because your idea is to build a villa with sea views, what your architect should do is to look for and negotiate with local construction companies who have previous experience building on a sloping land. And now, how long it takes the entire process of sourcing land and building your own villa in Spain? We could say that the entire process usually takes about 2 years approximately. And how much does it cost to build a villa in Spain? Well, that's totally up to you. Here we could again divide the budget into 3 different parts: the land acquisition, the licensing and project management, and the construction. Regarding the cost of acquiring the land, I cannot give you a precise estimate as it depends on many factors. But let's say that you invest 180,000 euros. The cost of the building license, architect fees, and project management again depends on many factors, but for an independent villa, I could estimate a budget of between 250 and 270 euros per constructed square meter. And finally, the construction costs will depend on the land conditions, the project design, and the quality you want to employ. But we could estimate an average of between 1,300 and 1,800 euros per constructed square meter of interior space, and between 300 to 500 euros per constructed square meter of exterior space. which would be areas like a pool, chill-out area, or a terrace. So as a matter of putting an example, an independent villa with 200 square meters of interior space and another 200 square meters of exterior space with a pool, terrace, chill-out area, garage, and even a garden would have a total cost of around 600,000 euros, taxes included. If you got to this part of the video, please let me apologize for simplifying this entire process so much, but my goal here is to outline the entire construction process in a simple way so that you can understand and have a fairly clear idea of what it looks like. If you're looking for a team of local and experienced architects and professionals who can communicate perfectly in English and help you carry out this entire process, I encourage you to contact us through the link you will see in the description of this video. Thank you very much for watching.